I don't know, this should have been stronger.
When we've liberated ourselves, we will have to ask ourselves who we are.
Servus Freunde, my name is Jimmy Cage and Women Talking is the newest film written and directed by Polley. It's based on a novel by the same name by Miriam Toews, and it tells the story of a group of women who come together to decide what they should do. The time is 2010, and yet it feels like we are more than 100 years in the past, because the story is set in an isolated religious community. The women of this colony have become victims of a grave injustice. Something that went on for a long time but was only now, at the beginning of the movie, discovered. Several women, but also young girls, have been drugged and raped by the men of the colony. And these weren't singular incidents, but it's a whole system of oppression and violence that's enabled and in a way supported by the patriarchal structures. These women have been subjugated to being second-class citizens of their colony, and Women Talking is of course a movie that's coming exactly at the right moment. When women in the United States have been subjugated to being second-class citizens after the overturning of Roe v. Wade by the Supreme Court. When this review is coming out, and also when the movie is really coming out after it has only been screened at festivals so far, the all-important midterm election has already been held. So I really hope the so-called Rovember happened and people voted blue all the way. Because it's about time we, and in this case specifically the United States, stop going backwards and show up for women's rights and democracy. And it's with democracy that Women Talking begins. It's time to make a decision. Just forgive the men for what they did, which might at first be the very thing that their religion tells them to do, stay in the colony but fight back, or leave the colony behind and seek a new place in the world. Since women in this colony aren't able to read or write, one of the young ones just makes 3 little drawings under which everyone should make their cross. This whole beginning part was really well done. How Polley introduces us to this world and these horrible crimes without the need to become very graphical. How she establishes the basic structures of this place and finds ways, images, sequences to paint a quick but powerful picture of this very difficult situation. The majority of the movie then takes place in just one location. A granary, where the women of 2 families discuss the pros and cons of their choices. The voting had come to a tie and the options left are either to stay and fight or leave the colony. It becomes very much like a stage play in which the different characters are bringing in their point of view, which varies from very elaborate thoughts that sometimes feel a bit too much like talking points in a discussion to very emotional outbursts about the horrors they had or have to endure. Women Talking stars Rooney, Claire Foy, Jessie Buckley, Judith Ivey and more. And as you expect from a cast like this, the performances are all very good. The themes, the relevancy, the message, the empowerment, all these aspects are super strong, more or less by default. And combined with the top-notch cast, Women Talking is kind of working by itself, which is of course unfair because it takes a lot of work and talent to make it work. And yet it kind of stops there because the movie never fully took off for me. I do enjoy movies in which it's basically just characters talking, even if these characters are just in one room. Take 12 Angry Men for example, which is kind of a flawless film. And I was wondering why Women Talking didn't grab me more. It's difficult to dissect their whole argument after just one viewing, but my impression was that the whole discussion goes very much in circles, without many new reveals or escalating arguments. Which is probably not completely true, but it felt like everything was pretty known and set from the beginning. And all my emotional investment seems to mostly stem from the overall themes and not really so much from the storytelling itself. To me, the movie has somewhat of an artificial feeling. It's not as raw and authentic as it could have been. In the beginning part, I thought it was, but then it lacked kind of an edge for me. And maybe it's partly because of this stagey feeling, and maybe it's partly because of the omission of further details about the colony. I was wondering and curious to see more about their daily lives and how that place is functioning. There was some of that in there in regards to the teachings of the children, which is also a strong element because it clearly tackles how power structures and gender relations like these are taught to the next generation and how important it is to educate and to put empathy and love above all. but I couldn't quite shake the feeling that the movie tells me too little about how their whole plan is even possible. The actual realities of either staying and fighting or leaving. It remained a bit too vague, and that might not be a concern for most, but I needed more. Another aspect that diminished my enjoyment and also my acceptance of this world as something real is the strange color grading. The colors in this are extremely desaturated, so much so that it's almost a black and white movie, which would have been fine, but this choice automatically has a very digital, very artificial appeal to me, which I don't like that much. At first I thought they would maybe do something more with it, maybe it would change throughout the movie, maybe it would become more colorful as the camaraderie and hope of our characters grow. But it stays like this. I still think it's a good movie overall, but with this subject matter and these actors, it could have been much more. So in German I'd say, durch seine unglaublich starke und relevante Thematik alleine gelingt es Women Talking Eindruck zu hinterlassen. Dieser wird aber durch das eher mittelmäßige Storytelling und ein paar gewöhnungsbedürftige filmische Entscheidungen leider geschmälert. I give Women Talking 6 out of 10. It's more like 6.4, but I don't do that. Alright, that's it like always. Comment below and let me know what you think about Women Talking. You can hit me up on Twitter, Instagram and Letterboxd and also on Patreon, simply at @JimmyCage. And if you enjoyed this episode, please give me a thumbs up, share, subscribe, whatever you like. And make sure you hit that bell for all I have to tell.